Baby, I felt sick as a dog. Let me tell you this right now. I was sitting in my new place. I've barely been living there for a week. I'm in a different country now, all right? So I'm just trying different foods, and baby, I think I tried the wrong thing because I went running to the bathroom. I was in so much pain, literally. And here's the problem that was on top of it all. I didn't know what to do or where to go for medicine. And so I tried to go on this little app that I found online to go order, delivery to the house for it, but it's 3:00 in the morning and a lot of things were not available. Then on top of it, get this, the app is in a different language. And so I could barely figure out how to navigate that because it didn't have a translation option on it. So then after a whole lot of searching through Google and figuring out what I should order, I find something to order. Then the app blocks my card because it said it was a suspicious purchase because I had an international card. So I was really in a bad position and a lot of pain. It's 3-something in the morning. I don't know what to do. I don't know my neighbors. I'm like, what am I supposed to do at this point in time? So I did basically the only thing that I thought I could do, which was I called Matthew, the really nice and I will say handsome moving man who had helped me out a week prior. And I told him, I said, listen, I am so sorry to call you this late at night. And he was like, no. What's going on? Are you okay? Are you okay? I mean, he jumped into protective mode. I just could feel that. He was like, are you okay? Are you okay? I said, I'm fine. And I told him the situation. And I said, hey, when you get up in the morning tomorrow, could you just maybe come by and bring me some medicine or just maybe send it through like a car delivery service, something like that. Just something, when you get up tomorrow morning. He said, I'm coming right now. And I told him, I was like, you don't have to come right now. He says, no, I'm coming right now. He said, just sit tight. And he told me, he says, hey, I only live about 20 minutes from you and there's a 24-hour pharmacy that's on the way. So let me just go ahead and get you something. And he asked about the symptoms I was feeling. I told him. And so he said he would be there shortly. He said, just sit tight. Baby, it felt like an eternity waiting for him because I just felt so sick. And I'll tell you this, I felt vulnerable. I don't know about you, but I'm not the kind of person to typically ask for help. I'm the kind of person who's always there to help other people. I'm everyone else's person that they call. But for me, I don't know. I feel so uncomfortable asking people for help. I feel vulnerable. I don't know. It's just an unnatural position for me. It's an unfamiliar position for me. But life has a way of challenging us to step out of our comfort zone so we can grow. And I'm going to tell you, on this night, leading into the early morning hours with Matthew, I grew in some really unexpected ways. So when he rang my doorbell, baby, the only thing I could think was, how am I going to get from this bathroom to the front door? It felt like it was a mile to walk. And he kept ringing the doorbell over and over again because I guess I was walking too slow. And my logic was this: I'm just going to open the door. I'm going to get the medicine. And then once I get the medicine, I'll send him on his way and I'll run back to the bathroom. In my mind, I'm just going to sleep on the floor in the bathroom tonight because frankly, what else am I going to do? So, when I opened the door for him, really, I just wanted to quickly get the medicine from him, but he immediately came into the apartment. And when I tell you this man was finer than I remember. I may be sick, but I still got eyes that work. There's something about him that just pulls me in every time I see him. And what got me even more was as soon as he came in, he jumped into just taking care of me, checking my temperature, asked him, was I okay? But before I knew it, my sickness caught up with me and I had to run to the bathroom. And I'm thinking he's going to wait at the front door, but he followed me to the bathroom because he wanted to make sure I was okay. This was so unfamiliar to me because I don't have anybody in my life who takes care of me like this. I'm always the one taking care of other people. And so when he got on the floor beside me, when I was over that toilet, I felt so uncomfortable. I felt embarrassed. I felt a little ashamed. I didn't feel comfortable being vulnerable in front of someone. But in this moment, I had no choice but to be vulnerable. I had no choice but to let him comfort me and help me. And I will tell you that even though it was an unfamiliar feeling, even though it was an uncomfortable feeling, it was something about it that still felt good. Why haven't I been allowing people to do this for me all along? Because I realized that in a lot of cases, people weren't helping me, not because they were selfish, but because in some cases, I just never let anybody help me. So after it seemed like things were calming down for me, he guided me to my bedroom. He says, listen, just sit here and breathe. I'm going to go grab you the medicine. And, he said, just kind of sit it out and I'm going to sit here with you until you feel better. I told him, I was like, you can go home. He says, nah, I'm going to stay here with you until I'm sure that you feel better. And so he gave me the medicine and I warned him, I was like, listen, I tried to drink some water earlier and let's wait for me to take the medicine because if I take it now, I don't want to end up vomiting it. And I was really afraid of vomiting on him. That was really what it came down to. And I didn't want to be embarrassed. So I was like, nah, let's just wait. I'm just going to sit here and breathe. He's like, no, take the medicine right now. And one thing about him was that he really didn't allow me to say no. Even in this small example with the medicine, I was like, no, I really can't. I can't. Not right now. He's like, no, you need to take the medicine. He was there taking care of me. It made me feel vulnerable, but in a good way. And for me, someone who feared vulnerability so much, in this small moment, I got to see that vulnerability is not always a bad or a scary thing. When you lean into vulnerability with someone who honestly cares about you and who wants nothing from you except for you to be your best, vulnerability is actually beautiful. And so after I took the medicine, he started rubbing his hand on my chest. He was comforting me and he told me, hey, lay on my shoulder. Let's just sit back for a moment and I'm going to sit here with you until you go to sleep. We were sitting sort of upright in my bed and he told me, I'm going to sit here with you until I'm sure that you feel better. And I kept telling him, hey, you can go home. Don't worry about it. I'm sure the medicine will work. And he was like, no, I'm going to sit here. He was really insistent. He didn't even argue it. He just kind of sat there. And I knew that there was nothing I could do to get him to leave, but I also knew that I didn't want him to leave. And so we just started talking, and it felt like every time we would talk, and this was only our second time really talking, but I remembered our first conversation when he helped me move in. And then this conversation today, it just always felt so natural. I felt like I've known him forever. I felt safe with him. Like I really felt safe with him. And we sat there and we talked and we laughed and we joked. And after a couple moments, I felt like I didn't even have any pain in my stomach anymore. It was as if just being with him was the medicine that I needed. This man made me feel so good. And yes, I know that I don't know him that well. Basically, he's a stranger that the only thing I know about him is that he has a moving company and that I met him barely a week prior. I get that this situation isn't normal, but I also recognize that normal doesn't always benefit us either. Me doing things the normal way has not always got me what I want. Me doing things the normal way often had me end up in relationships with men who tried to take advantage of me, who are abusive to me. Me being normal and doing things the quote unquote regular way hadn't benefited me. So I decided, you know what? Let me just lean into this moment and enjoy having him here. And so as we continued to talk, he opened up and shared a lot more about himself with me, which actually helped me to understand him, to understand how he became this caring person. He told me about how he got into his moving business was because he actually started there as a worker. He was in college and he needed a job, and he got a job working there basically just helping to move boxes. He was a moving person. And then the owner of the company, this older gentleman, passed away a couple months later and his wife took over the business. The wife had no experience whatsoever in the business. And so he quickly jumped in to start helping her because he saw that she was vulnerable. Some of the other employees were trying to take advantage of her. And so he went to her and said, hey, I can help you with this. And he kind of just forced his help on her, which she greatly appreciated. And so for a couple years, he ended up running the business for her. And she appreciated him and trusted him so much that when she passed away, she left the business to him because they didn't have any children. And one of the things that she said in her will was, you were like the son I never had, and I appreciated how you protected me in my most vulnerable time. And it was once I heard that story that I realized that his helping spirit was very similar to my helping spirit. We love to jump in and help people. We do it out of our natural instinct. And for him, I realized that him coming over in the middle of the night was not to try to take advantage of me. Him coming over in the middle of the night was because of the fact that this is just who he is. When he sees a vulnerable person, he wants to help them. And I'll tell you, this just felt so good because this wasn't like many of the men that I had met, especially not moving from Los Angeles. You just don't meet men like this very often. And I don't know, it made me more intrigued with him. So as we sat there continuing to talk, eventually we both fell asleep. I woke up occasionally feeling his hands rubbing in my hair, and I just felt so comfortable because I knew he wasn't trying to do anything. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to take advantage of me. He was just comforting me. And I felt so vulnerable and so safe in his arms. As I laid on his chest, just the warmth of his body, it radiated that I was in the right place at the right time. And I could feel that he felt the same way. We both felt at total ease. Neither of us had to be on. I didn't have to be the CEO, social media star, and he didn't have to be the CEO of a moving company. We could just be two human beings comforting each other. So when I woke up the next morning, and to my surprise, he was still laying there, Baby, immediately my mind started to race because I'm like, hold on. What is this man doing here? So my first instinct was to look under the blanket because I was like, hold on, what happened last night? Because I just wasn't sure. I'm like, did anything happen at all? You know what I mean? And then I saw, well, nothing happened because we were both fully clothed. Then I calmed down and just started to look at him. And, I'm not going to act like I don't fall in love quickly because I do have a history of doing that. But there was something about seeing him laying there beside me where I thought to myself, this is not the end with you and this man. This is just the beginning. I don't know what it was, but something in my gut was saying, there is going to be a big future with us. And I'm not saying we was going to get married tomorrow, but just something about this man looking at him. And when he woke up, how he looked in my eyes, I knew that this was the beginning of something that would be so much bigger than I could ever imagine. And as we stared at one another's eyes, it was as if we were having yet another conversation. Words can't even describe what was being said, but the feelings were very clear. He wanted to be closer to me, and I wanted it too. So as his lips touched mine, it was as if an adrenaline rush shot through me, and I could feel it shooting through him as well. As he gently kissed me, the message was clear. He wanted me, and I wanted him. But there was no rush. There was no angst. There was no pressure. It was just pure desire to be in one another's presence, to be in one another's lives. And I knew that our future was going to be something bigger than I could ever ask for or imagine.